The Witch's Eternal Bargain. In 1452, the village of Blackmoor was a place of whispers and fear. Tucked deep within a forest, its people had long relied on superstition to explain the unexplainable. But no tale struck fear in their hearts more than the one about Morgana, the outcast woman who lived on the edge of the woods. On a cold autumn night, the villagers decided they had had enough. Armed with torches and pitchforks, they dragged Morgana to the town square. She screamed curses at them, her voice chilling as the wind carried it into the night. "You will not end me," she cried as they lit the pyre beneath her. As the flames climbed, Morgana chanted an incantation in a forgotten tongue. The fire roared unnaturally high, and the villagers staggered back in fear. Her body vanished in the blaze, but her screams lingered long after. The next morning, a great oak tree stood where the pyre had burned, its bark marked with glowing runes. Alex Parker didn't believe in witches or curses. As an aspiring journalist for a small paranormal blog, his job was to debunk such things. So when he heard about a cursed tree in Blackmoor Woods, he couldn't resist investigating. The forest felt ancient, as though it had been waiting for him. Alex brushed off the uneasy feeling that crept up his spine and pressed on until he found it. A gnarled oak tree, larger than any he'd ever seen. Its bark was rough and weathered, but the faint glow of a strange symbol made his heart skip a beat. "Probably just a prank," he muttered, snapping photos. As dusk fell, the woods grew unnaturally quiet. Alex pitched his tent near the tree, but sleep didn't come easily. He kept hearing faint whispers, too soft to make out, but unmistakably real. He woke with a start to find a woman standing near his campsite. Her long, dark hair glistened in the moonlight, and her eyes shimmered like polished onyx. She wore a tattered cloak, her expression a mix of worry and sadness. "I didn't mean to startle you," she said softly. "I'm lost." Her name was Morgana. Yusinja. Over the next few days, Alex found himself drawn to Morgana. She seemed out of place, her old-fashioned speech and mannerisms intriguing. She warned him repeatedly to leave the forest, but Alex couldn't bring himself to go. Strange things began to happen. His camera malfunctioned, the files he had saved mysteriously corrupted. Shadows seemed to move just beyond his vision, and at night he dreamed of fire, of being consumed by flames while faceless figures chanted around him. Determined to get to the bottom of it, Alex searched a nearby abandoned cabin rumoured to belong to the tree's last victim. Inside, he found a diary filled with cryptic entries. The man had written about meeting a woman in the woods, someone who promised him eternal life in exchange for performing a ritual at the oak tree. "She walks once every century," the final entry read. "Beware her beauty, for it is a mask." The bargain. That night, Alex confronted Morgana. She seemed weary, her charm fading as she finally revealed her true nature. "I was cursed to this tree," she said, her voice trembling. "Every 100 years I walk the earth for 1 month. To break the curse, I must find someone to take my place. Someone willing or desperate." Alex's heart pounded. "And if I say no?" Morgana's form began to shift, her once beautiful face decaying into something hollow and monstrous. The forest around them seemed to come alive, shadows writhing like snakes. "Then the curse consumes you anyway," she whispered. Terrified, Alex ran, but no matter which direction he turned, he found himself back at the oak tree. The whispers grew louder, echoing in his mind. He fell to his knees, his breath ragged. "I don't want to die," he gasped. Morgana knelt beside him, her skeletal hand brushing his face. "Then take my place." The ritual. With no other choice, Alex agreed. Morgana began chanting, the runes on the tree glowing brighter as the ground beneath him opened up. His body froze as an unseen force lifted him toward the tree. The last thing he saw was Morgana's face, restored to its youthful beauty, smiling with quiet relief. The next morning, a traveller passing through Blackmoor Woods saw the oak tree. Its bark was newly marked with a glowing rune, and faintly, if you listen closely, you could hear the sound of whispers.